It's time to switch to red ball cricket, guys. Very excited about this. It's a new format again. We're going back into the purest form of the game. I always like to speak about red ball cricket and test cricket. Really enjoy watching it as well, covering it as well, talking details about different strategies and mentalities and all of those type of things. I think what I like the most about red ball cricket probably is that it gives us time to be able to discuss certain things and also be able to test certain theories and see if the what our theories are correct. I also like to weigh up what has been said before the match according to conditions and then seeing how players adapt to that with the bat and with the ball, etc. And how batters obviously test themselves against these type of things. But we know South Africa is obviously playing in a test series against England, and so there's a lot to talk about the red ball game. I would like to talk about strategies going into this, certain players that we're looking forward to, etc. We'll obviously do a preview before the actual first game. We will do that as per usual, but this is just a broad discussion, an overall discussion about it, and let's get into that discussion today. But before we get going, before we get started, please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine Monthly. Every issue is 100% free straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. Rasif Anderson is on the latest cover. You can download it for free. That is it right in front of you over there. If you guys want to have a look and to recognize it, of course, that is the cover of the latest issue. Then, of course, what you also need to do is smash that like button, also comment and share. It's very important that you do that. Even after the video has finished streaming live, guys, we need your comments after the video is done. Leave your comments in the comment section, not in the live chat only. Also, you can help us grow South African cricket, and you can also help us promote South African cricket by getting involved with the comment section over here, as well as becoming a Patreon. Now, the link is on the screen as well as in the description. You can choose a tier and you can join us on our mission to try and do that. And don't forget to go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your updates as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Looking forward to chatting to you guys about this. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid and this is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. And today we're going to switch to red ball cricket. We've been covering white ball cricket for quite some time now over the last couple of months, with South Africa obviously playing in the UK against Ireland as well as in England. So we've been covering white ball a lot. So it's a nice break, a refreshing break, um, an opportunity to talk about red ball cricket, something that is my favorite format of the game. I really enjoy covering it. Um, I I've made my best memories in cricket during the test tours rather than the white ball tours. I must admit that is the truth. It gives you enough time to get to know other journalists from the opposition team as well. You get to know new people within within your realm and within your community as well. You get to know more people because you spend more time with them, of course, especially when you go on tour. Now, I wish I was on tour with the boys, going to England and experiencing this, especially because there's a specific game that is in Manchester. So I was really looking forward to maybe opportunities to get to that, but things have come up and wasn't possible. But we will be covering the tour fully. So to give you guys a quick update on when the games will be, the Test series is on the 17th to the 21st of August, and the first game will be at Lords. The second test is in Edgbaston, 25th to the 29th of August. I think it's actually Manchester now. And then the third test is at the Oval. Just to double check that, yes, it's not Edgbaston anymore. It is Old Trafford, Manchester, on the 25th to the 29th of August, and in the Kia Oval in London for the final test. This was an old graphic from previously. So obviously the old, um, the old venue is still on there. So that's an interesting one. So I'm looking forward to the test series. The major concern, obviously, there was a press conference with Dean Alga, and Dean spoke about various things within the Proteas camp, etc. I'll read some of the highlighted quotes for you a little bit later, but I think the main thing for me that really stood out about this presser is the concern over particularly um, Kagiso. Now, there's a 4-day match, a 4-day tour match happening between the Lions in South Africa at the Spitfire Ground, St. Lawrence in Canterbury. And it seems like Dean Alga's not aware whether KG will be fit for that or not. And that's a big concern for me because I was really hoping that KG would be fully fit for this. We know he pulled up an injury prior to the T20 series, or was it? Yeah, prior to the T20 series, I think it was. And yeah, he's obviously going to have to sort out rehab and all of those type of things to get himself match fit. I'm concerned that if he doesn't play in the warm ups, that we might not see him. Um, we might not see him play in the first test. I know there was footage of him released of him playing in the nets, etc., and he has been bowling, etc. And Alga has been speaking about him starting to bowl recently. But there is concerns for me about if he doesn't play that warm up game that he might be missing for that first test, match rhythm and all of those type of things as well. But obviously, I'll put my full trust into the medical staff and the coaches, etc., that they will come up with the right decision with regards to KG, because we don't obviously want him to be out for an extensive amount of time, and we also don't want him to get a serious injury that takes him out of the game completely. So, welcome to the show, Ditya. Um, so we're just talking about currently the update. We're most likely going to miss KG for the warm up game. It seems like it from Dean Alga's press conference, and if he misses that, it's very likely that he could miss the first test. So the question is going to be who we're going to bring in place of him. Um, I don't think it's as hard of a decision with regards to just bringing someone back in. Seeing that Andrik Nokia is back and fit, Lungin Kiri is fit again. You've got the likes of Tuan Orefir in the squad. Um, you have the likes of Clinton Steerman and Lutus Pamla also in the mix. So South Africa's bowling options are quite strong. So I'm not really too worried about it when it comes to the replacement on the day. But KG is KG, and KG has something extra. So this is the squad for the England tour. We've got Dean Alga, Sarel Ewe, Aiden Markram, Keegan Peterson, Rassie van der Dussen, Ryan Rickleton, Calverijn, Kaya Zondo, Marco Jansen, Kagiso Rabada, Lungin Kidi, Tuan Odefir, Lutus Pamla, Clinton Steeman, Andrik Nokia, Simon Harmer, and Keshav Maharaj. So, first and foremost, a massive loss for South Africa if we miss him for that first test. It's a big venue, big game. Your thoughts on that first, Aditya?
Yeah, it would be a massive setback for the Proteas if KG wasn't playing that test match, because he's also the most experienced bowler in that lineup, and to lose a fast bowler of that pedigree is it's just unfortunate. Um, does South Africa have the replacement for it? Yeah, absolutely. But this was that opportunity for South Africa to sort of put that full stop on Bazball, right? Because
Mhm.
England is coming all guns blazing, and the South African lineup was supposed to be the one that stopped them in their tracks. So yeah, I don't know how the management is feeling right now, but it's an unfortunate injury for KG, and
Mhm.
it hurts the team for sure.
Yeah, so mm, yeah, okay, sorry, I thought I was muted. So the quotes from from Dean about KG. I'm starting with KG, of course. Um, where is it now? He has bowled since we started our camp in Canterbury. Obviously, with regard to workload, I think that's the biggest concern, whether he can carry himself through a test match with the intensity and the volume of the overs in a day's play. For now, he's doing all the right things. I can't say yes or no as yet, but there still are 8 or 9 days before the first test, and he's high on our list to get him fit and giving us more options for the series. So that was what he had to say about that. And about Andrik Nokia being back in the test side, of course, which is still in the same bracket, you would say. Um, it's reg- it's great to have Anna back. He's had he's gone and miss a bit with his injuries over the last year. The way he's bowling in the nets and the way he's bowled in the white ball game now is big for us. He brings a whole different aspect of pace to the table. And in the UK, if you have those kind of assets, you need to use them. So that's what he had to say about that. But I think the major, probably the major quote that comes out of his presser for me, other than KG now, is Dean talking about the confidence that this group of players are going to bring back, that have played in the white ball arena. He said they've got a lot of confidence coming into the setup, and it's almost like a breath of fresh air with these guys coming in. Knowing we've done so well in the last month playing here, that's great for us. It gives us good resources, many options, and info we can use to best prepare going into the series. He also touched on the fact that there are some guys that have played county cricket and they've got that experience coming with them into this particular series. I would obviously think about first and foremost Ryan Rickleton, someone who really would could have an opportunity to really show his talent in this particular testament, maybe cement his spot there. I think those options are brilliant for us. He said. I think we're ticking. I mean, we're ticking the boxes in the right nature. Having having guys play county cricket on now and doing pretty well in those games they played. It's a massive asset for us going into this test match, on this test series, just from the experience of the conditions point of view. So that's what he had to say about that. I also heard him speaking about that number 4 position and speaking about the competition over there as well, mentioning Aiden's name as well in the mix for that. So a lot that was said from Dean. Um, from your perspective, Aditya, I mean, the switch from T20 cricket into red ball cricket isn't necessarily an easy one because from my perspective, I don't think it's as easy as to the switch from T20 to Test as some people may realize. Um, your conditioning is different. The way your body reacts, your fast twitch muscles react, the way your mental game and how you have to reframe your mental capacity to switch between the formats is different. Some of those things become instinctive when you're playing T20 cricket. A lot of T20 cricket, some of the things that you do become instinctive that you do, almost have to reprogram your brain again, um, to play the longer format and to have the patience to do so. Is there anything you can draw from information wise, maybe that you've read, etc., about that switch? And I know we've done a couple of magazines about it too. So maybe if you can remember anything that you can bring up regarding that.
Yeah, look, it is challenging mentally, but I think what's sort of encouraging this time around is that they've had some cricket under their belt. They're not going in completely cold. And the one thing that I talked to Richard Pybus about during our interview for the magazine was that how do you sort of get rid of that slow starter stag? And um, I think one of the many things that he said was that planning is obviously important, but you do need to go all guns blazing, and the only way you're able to do that is if you've got enough cricket under your belt, your conditioning has been good, and I think it has been right because they've played enough cricket to be able to say that they're ready for the test series. But then obviously, from a technical point of view, there is some training to be done and it's like that. But I think physically they should be good to go.
This warm up game is very important too. So South Africa tend to be known for to be slow starters in games that they play and series that they start, whatever the case may be. But I think this warm up game is really very important for them to get some rhythm. At least they would have played some sort of longer format to get themselves into the mental preparation for that. I mean, I've seen how cricketers prepare for the 4 day season. They have to get themselves into the mode, into the mentality of knowing that they're going to be trying to occupy long hours on the field, at the crease, in the field, or as a bowler. So the warm up game is actually very, very important, and I like the fact that there was one before this Test series. Certain test series that doesn't really normally happen. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you're lucky for it, and sometimes you're not. But this time around, I think that's a good. It was a good idea for that, and also for South Africa to be able to just not worry about the result in that warm up game, and just I want them just to get the body moving and to get their flow, get the flow going. To be able to bowl as many overs as possible if you can in a rhythm, not necessarily trying to exert yourself. I would rather want them to get into a rhythm of bowling stock deliveries majority of the time, putting it on the spot, getting into a rhythm and flow. Same with the batters, being able to test different parts of the game. I mean, in that warm up game, I would like them to actually think about those things. Say, let's try to knock it around, get some running between in our legs. To get some energy and blood flowing through our legs. Stand and deliver at certain games, dependable on where you are in the game. Try to connect with your partner. Get the runs flowing. Get your look for those shots that you would be using in a game time, and try to put yourself in that mentality already, knowing that you need to spend time and occupy it at the crease. Um, you don't want them to come out and start swinging like necessarily. This is not this news Bazball that we're talking about. We play Badgeball. Aditya, let's talk about the Bazball thing because it's something that South Africa is going to have to face. Dean Algo was asked about it too, and the same reaction we are getting from all of our players that have spoken about it. They're almost in a way dismissive about it. In the way they approach it, oh, that's their way to do it. When you're stubborn and you it's like when you and another guy that you know is going for the same girl, and then all of a sudden the one girl shows like more interest in your friend, and then you're like, oh no, but she has I don't know, a mole on her face anyway. I didn't like that. Whatever the case may be, or you'll say, "Oh no, her hair's not long enough," or you'll make up any excuse just to like, not excuse, but just to say that you're dismissing that. So I would use that analogy loosely.
This is the greatest analogy I've ever heard, and I hope players from the team are watching this.
I'm using this analogy loosely, but like basically, it does seem that they're very dismissive of that style of cricket.
Yeah.
They almost like that's not why we're gonna play. We're gonna play our own cricket. Um, Whereas before, when the aggressive style of cricket was mentioned for the white ball arena, there was a little bit of praise, not I wouldn't say praise, but acknowledgement of it from Boucher, from the players. Oh yes, aggressive style of cricket is the way you want to go, and we want to play attacking brand of cricket, but we want to also play smart cricket. That was thrown in the mix. Whereas with this, it's just like we're going to play our brand of cricket. That's their way. Let's see if their way works against us. Like it was a very different way of approaching it. So, what's your thoughts so far on the Bouch, on the Bazball? Um, yeah,
I mean, from the outside, it's so entertaining, and um, it's produced results, right? Like how often in the history of Test cricket have we seen, you know, 300 plus totals being chased with the sort of consistency that we've seen in the last couple of months? Never. So and I think what that does is that makes Test cricket a game of fine margins. You have to win as many sessions as you possibly can because come day five, if you've you've posted 350 on the board, you can't be entirely sure that you're going to nail it. So I think if anything, the margin for error is very small. and you can't afford to be complacent at all. You can't let this England batting lineup run away with anything, because what was happening in the last couple of years, I suppose, was that the entire batting lineup revolved around Joe Root. He carried the entire batting lineup. But now Joe Root is still contributing, obviously, but Johnny Besto is doing his bit. Ben Stokes has been great, and they're in a much better space than they were. So I think if we were to have this conversation in like February or March or something like that, be like South Africa has the upper hand. But when we sit and talk about it today, I think there's a bit of a difference, because England have suddenly transformed themselves into this attacking and enterprising unit that seems to be able to win from anywhere.
Mm. And it was interesting to hear Dean Alga speak about it and say, but conditions determine the way you play. And he emphasized that, particularly in that press conference that's on the channel as well, guys, if you want to watch it. But he did emphasize that, and I agree with him actually, because I think that this Bazball works dependable on conditions. I feel I do think that that determines the way you're going to play, and also the way a team exploits that conditions in their favor is very important too. And I think South Africa, when it comes to the team makeup that we have, I think we have quite a balanced bowling attack that can really adapt to conditions accordingly. I think Keshav Maharaj is a world class spinner. If you're going to play Simon Harmer as well, especially in England, the experience there to of the know how to know the conditions, etc. He'll know how to exploit them. And then you've got the likes of Lungi, who gives you different lengths to Anrich, who has clear pace. So Marco Janssen giving you the left arm swing option. Like there's a nice balance that can adapt, I feel, within South Africa's setup. It's how our batters are going to play against our other arch enemy, which is the swing. South Africa have had two issues. First, it was spin. We've seemed to have rectified that. We play a lot more confidently against spin than we used to. Yes, we need to go in a test match again in India and see what happens there again. But so far, what it seems like is that we have figured a way out against that. Our newer guys have settled in now. So the Sarel Eerweer, Keegan Peterson as well. Keegan Peterson also showing that he can take on tough opposition as well, and he's not phased by that, by the level of opposition. But it's still a concern for me, the batting order, because it's quite an inexperienced batting lineup. And no matter how we look at it, um, the Dean Alga being basically the only person that is really experienced in the top order now, with Temba missing, you're going to have a problem with regards to experience. So leveling it out is going to be important. Who they choose, of course. We know that Carl Verheyen is our wicket keeper, so he slots in there. So we at least know what 1 and 6 is going to be. Now it's about filling out the middle between them. Going to be very interesting to see what we do with regards to that. Ryan Rickleton, I think, deserves an opportunity. What are we going to do? Are we going to go with a 7-4 split? How are we going to look at it? Are we going to play two spinners? Are we going to play one? And what is the decisions they're going to make from that perspective is going to be very interesting to see. And I'm almost certain that conditions are going to play a part in the way South Africa picked their team. Um, they looked quite. I think this test team is coming with a different type of confidence. They've always played differently. They played with a different personality and confidence than the white ball team, and they're coming off a good run of form in the test arena. Plus, you're having the other guys that are coming that have won in England in white ball games. They had a really good white ball series. With their confidence coming in, I think it's South Africa is going to play England at the perfect time right now. I think England is also trying to find their this new identity, and they're going to test it against a very aggressive bowling attack in South Africa. Um, that I don't think will uh, take this very lightly. We've got aggression. That's why I think KG was so important, though, because he would have brought that aggression with him, and intimidation to to this Bazball that they want to play. But how do you rate South Africa's chances, and especially with the bat? Or do you are your concerns lying with regards to the bat?
I think with the bat, definitely, because for the last couple of years at least, South Africa take that time to sort of get set, get acclimated to conditions, and I think part of that obviously can be attributed to COVID and scheduling and being in bubbles, things like that. But yeah, I do think that South Africa need to find ways of getting 350 on the board more consistently. Um, and I'd be interested to see what that batting lineup is like. Whether Aiden Markram comes and is going to make a comeback into the Test team given his white ball form, or whether he's not, because um, so I think selection is going to be crucial here. But I think one thing that I will say is slightly sort of concerning for me is the lack of pace. South Africa's USP is pace, and I think at the moment, if KG doesn't play, then that responsibility is going to fall on Andrik's shoulders. So, yeah, we'll have to see how South Africa go.
There's going to be a lot of discussion with regards to the batting lineup. I see that people are getting quite busy in the live chat. Looks like there's a little bit of conflict happening. The Bailey brothers can't go anywhere with causing a stir. I love it. Let me look at some of the comments over here that people are saying. Before I get into the comments, actually, before I want to talk about one particular man that is going to be a important important decision is going to be made with regards to him, and that is Aiden Markram. Now, where does he fit within this test side? That's going to be a problem. Um, that's going to be a discussion that we need to discuss because we've got Rassi that's also been very good at number four position for South Africa. I think um, that means that Aiden slots keeps moving down the order again. Um, could Rassi play in in the Bavuma role? Possibly, I think. But I think Calvarena needs that partner. He needs someone that can stick in with him. And if South Africa is in trouble, dig them out. That's kind of Cal's specialty. Very classy batter. You need someone to stick around with him. And we're looking at a guy like Ryan Rickleton, attacking batter, top four as well. So what do we do with regards to that? Filling up that one that I would say one, two, and three is kind of settled. That's pretty clear. But then from four, five, those are the two key parts, and perhaps even seven if you're talking about playing an extra batter in the team as well. Um, what would you do, Aditya? Where does it lie? Because I'll get into the comment section and see what some of the people are saying there too.
Wait, sorry, you broke a bit there. What was your question?
Like, what would you do with that number five and number six position now? With Aiden, Rassi, Riza, Aiden, Rassi, Rickleton, all of them competing almost for that 4-5 position for South Africa currently without Pavuma available.
Um, and look, I think Rickleton should definitely feature in that, given that he's played county cricket, right? He's familiar with the conditions. If there's anyone who's got some solid match practice, that is Ryan Rickleton. With respect to Rassi, I think he should be there as well. Aiden Markram cannot be playing 4-5-6. He has to be in that top two, in my view. And um, this team seems to be the kind that is very structured in terms of selection, right? I think
Does bowling play a part in your decision at all? From Aiden's
I
perspective, maybe?
honestly, I love watching Aiden, the test batsman, and I know he's had a poor season and there's a lot of criticism, but this is a new one, right? He's done well in the white ball formats, and he probably hasn't had the opportunity to prove himself in the red ball format this season. So yeah, I don't know. it's a difficult one for me to comment on. Um, but yeah, I don't see a top four with Dean, Saralewe, Aiden, Rassi. I don't know. It just doesn't fit. It's got to be three of those four
Mhm.
because the number three position is obviously solidified, right? That's
Yeah, KP's
that's
role.
KP's. He's definitely Keegan Peterson is definitely coming back for that. So
Mhm. I mean, we've got Lawrence saying over here, Tim Bavuma's injury has opened the door for Markram at five, almost by default. So I want to see that, says Lawrence. Um, Michael says Anderson will not only eat Markram for breakfast, but even Rasi Cow for breakfast too. I'm worried about the swing
no,
deliveries, though.
that's a
The
very
swing.
high. That's a very heavy breakfast, man. To go lunch and dinner there too.
I'm just
Yeah.
that swinging board in England is a worry for me, Aditya. I've been saying that we tend to push it a little bit. We need a little bit more patience from our batters.
Of course, mate. That's we know that you got a bad time. That's important. But having said that, look, that comes down to preparation. It's not like these guys don't know how to hold the bat and play in these conditions. South African conditions are not too different. In fact, I think they're probably a bit more difficult because of the pace of these wickets. English wickets are probably still a little bit on the slower side compared to South Africa. So yeah, I don't I don't think that's too much of a problem. In fact, now that we're having this conversation, I'm reminded of that press conference that Quinny did in the West Indies, where he was asked. It was hilarious. He was asked uh, that what if the Duke's ball was used in South Africa as well for Test cricket, and Quinny was like, "Yeah, that'd be great because Test cricket would be over in 2 days then."
I remember that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
guy. He never ceases to amaze. Look here. There's a lot of conversation about this right now, and I think Pratik makes an excellent point with Markram is suited for the middle order in Red Bull, but I don't see him fitting unless you go with a 7-4 split. Now, that could determine a lot because does Markram get into a team when it's not a 7-4 split? With the way Ryan Rickleton and Calvin have recently played, they've shown what they are capable of. They're currently in form too. So it's a very tricky decision that they're going to have to make because they decided very boldly to drop Rassi and Aiden because of the IPL decision. And the guys that came in place of them performed. Now, Sarel Irvia, he might not have had a very good series against, well, a series in Bangladesh, like one of the fans have said in the comment section. But I don't think he's failed enough to maybe. I don't think he's had a long enough run to be able to make a decision on whether he is the next opener for South Africa or not. Um, and the only person that I see in the lineup or squad that currently that can maybe go in there for him instead of him is Aiden Markram, who's played as an opener before. But it seems to be the case that many fans actually want Markram to play in the middle order, like Lawrence over here with his top seven. Alga, Irvia, KP, Rassi, Markram, Rix, and Kyle. It will just give us so much more security against good attack with Janssen and Maharaj to add 50, 60 runs as well. Um, wishful thinking over there, hopefully. Hopefully they can put on 50, 60 runs each. I mean, maybe you're saying 50, 60 combined, that will be great too. But I would even go further and say, when is Janssen and Maharaj going to get more? When is Janssen going to get a 50 for South Africa, and then Maharaj get more 50s for South Africa? That would also be excellent. But are you concerned with us only bowling with four bowlers, especially with regards to the
Yes.
injuries to Andrich Nokia and Lungi recently, match fitness wise? I'm a bit worried about that.
Yeah, and look, in a four bowler attack, if one bowler breaks down, it's virtually impossible for three bowlers to carry that workload. And you have to look now in these times. We can't simply think in terms of one test match. You have to think in terms of the series, right? So if you have over the course of the series, if you have a couple of bowlers injured, that's a problem because what's also going to happen is that let's assuming KG doesn't play the first test match, we can't expect him to be at his absolute best in the second one because he's going to come in undercooked. No matter how much you bowl in the nets and you try to get your workload up, it's still not going to be the same as bowling in a competitive test match.
Mm.
So,
You
I'm
know,
look, and generally, I don't think a four bowler strategy is a winning strategy anymore. And you have to think about your opposition as well because if these guys are playing Bazball and they target one bowler, taking injuries aside, assume no one gets injured, Bazball strategy, they start taking apart one bowler. It's still too much pressure on the other three bowlers to ensure that they contain that attack. So
mm.
no, it's got to be a five bowler attack.
You know what my concern is as well, and I know it's obviously different towns, different pitches, different grounds, whatever. But scanning the county cricket this season, Division One, Division Two, pitches seem to be have been quite flat, and the heat waves in England have been quite hectic. I mean, they're talking about another heat wave of going up to 35 degrees Celsius over the next couple of days too. So that will also play its part with regards to what pitches are going to be created, and as well as swing. It might play its part there too. So having then only four bowlers is going to really be a problem, I think, because the workloads are going to be ridiculous if you're just fetching leather all the time. And I don't think maybe someone like Aiden Markram, that is someone they can target in Test cricket, because I don't think in 4-day cricket he can be considered as an extra bowling option necessarily quite yet. I don't think he has the consistency, and that's a lot of work. That's a lot to ask from someone that maybe hasn't done it consistently enough in 4-day cricket, because you're asking him to do hold the end, yeah, but not hold the end with just 1 or 2 overs. You're asking him to hold the end with 5, 10, maybe 15 overs. So it's a lot more a lot different when it comes to 4-day cricket and just getting anybody to bowl. Just to do things. I mean, obviously we're hoping for the best, and you really hope that we can bowl out anybody. Um, so if the pitches are quite flat and they're not as and and the weather isn't going to necessarily be a little bit more dewy and overcast in the mornings because of the weather, um we could be looking at six batters being maybe enough. I don't know, that I mean, either way, I'm not, my mind is not made up yet on that. I just think that with Lungi and Anrich, the fact that they don't have a lot of overs behind them bothers me at the moment, because they are going to be taking majority of the workload when it comes to our bowlers. So yeah.
It's a tricky situation. It's a tricky situation, and I think selection is going to be key to South Africa's success or failure in the game. Uh, but at the moment, I think if there is a priority, as Elka said, it has to be towards ensuring that KG can be fit for that first test match. Because even if KG is operating, let's say he's perfectly fit, but he's undercooked and is able to get through that first test match, that still bodes well for South Africa in the second test match because it means that KG will still go well in that second test match. And I think that's fine. I would play a fit but undercooked KG in that first test match, no problem, irrespective of what the result will end up being.
Mm.
Because we have seen in the past where KG hasn't been good in the first test match of the series, but he's bounced back spectacularly because he does get better with volume. So yeah,
Yeah. Another topic I want to talk about is Simon Harmer. um Simon Harmer in England in county cricket with a bat is something interesting, because he bats quite well he's batted quite well in the county scene. Now, I have my own opinions about the county scene and the level of county cricket. I've already said that I don't think it's at the high standard as people think. So you will see the likes of Simon Harmers of the world get runs over there. But we saw him also do it for South Africa. He can really put in a proper performance with the bat. And and having him in the team is a massive asset. Where do you stand on him, and how important is he in England right now? Because and do you play and do you drop someone like Kesha for him? Because if you only want to play one spinner, that's the big question. Because in my eyes, you don't, you can't drop Keshav. Um, in my opinion. So,
No,
what is your thoughts on Simon Armour? And in these wickets, of course, in England, what is your thoughts on that?
Simon Homer is fantastic. He's an excellent spinner, but that's not the that's not the solution. Simon Armour cannot be replacing Keshav. Keshav's, he's the old horse, and he absolutely deserves to be that. And we can't argue with his record in Test cricket. I think in the last Test match that he played, he took some 7 wickets on his home ground in Durban. So, you can't argue against that record. And he's a good batter in Test cricket as well. So, um, Simon Harmer is fantastic, no question, but cannot replace Keshav unless there is a concerted strategy to play two spinners, and that is obviously determined by conditions.
And yeah, and then someone like Marco Janssen maybe loses out. A seamer you're going to have to sacrifice. But I mean, yeah, we're looking at the team, and it's going to be very interesting what they're going to do. It will decide what the way South Africa is going to go. I mean, I can see them actually picking Simon Armour, to be honest. I think mainly because of that extra option that he does create with the bat. Um, and I think there will be spin in the wicket to a degree. I don't think that these wickets are going to be as only seamer friendly. I do think there's going to be something in it for the spinners too. Cross fingers, because then it will be an easy discussion. But if it's not, um, does Simon Harmer provide enough with a bat to replace a guy like Marco Janssen, for example? Or does Marco Janssen's asset or what he brings with to the party with the ball, does that outweigh Simon in conditions maybe that are not necessarily suited for spin? What did you do with regards to that? If it's got to do with batting alone, then what? Then you have to go with Simon Harmer, is it not?
Not quite. Look, if here's the thing, I do think that there is a role for a spinner, and I look back to the role that Ravindra Jadeja played, in the series that India played against England, and I feel like Keshav could play that same role. Obviously, Jadeja has more attacking proclivities compared to Keshav, um, but I think that's perfectly fine. There is a role to play there. It just depends on how Dean Larga chooses to use his spinner.
Hmm.
But no, I don't think that either way, irrespective, no matter what, it's very difficult to replace Keshav, in this team as a primary spinner. It cannot work.
Yeah, and it's an interesting take, and I think there will be guys that maybe think the opposite of us, but I still think that Keshav Maharaj is, in my opinion, the number one spinner in South Africa when it comes to um, doesn't matter which conditions as well. I think he's done excellently in all conditions. Doesn't necessarily have to be spinning conditions, and that's what I think makes Keshav so valuable to South Africa. But yeah, guys, gave you a quick update on what has been happening leading into this test series. We will obviously do a preview for the test series and all of those type of things. Talk about the warm up game, what we saw there, we get to watch it, etc. So thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you a lot, Aditya, for coming in and calling in on the show as well. We'll see you guys again. You know what you have to do: subscribe, like, comment, share, download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine. Everything that you need is in the comment section below. So just go ahead and click on all the links and follow the instructions, please. We'll see you again tomorrow with another daily show. Peace, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening.